Mike Radich here, and I'm now joined on the phone by MMA Veteran John Alessio. John, how are you?
I'm doing great, man. Feeling great. I just want to wish the days would go by a little faster so I could get on that scale and be one step closer to kicking some butt.
You have a fight coming up at Superior Cage Combat 3. How's training been going for the fight?
This is probably the best camp of my whole career. It's just been absolutely amazing. I've had amazing people behind me in this camp to help me get ready, and it's just truly the best I've ever felt. Going into this fight, I have zero excuses. If things don't go my way, but I'm 100% confident that they will. Some of the things that I added to this camp was Mike Dolce for my diet, and it was probably the best thing I could have ever done. The nutrition that I'm on makes me feel amazing, great energy and stuff. And also, Dr. Rhonda Bashron was the LV Sports Performance and Orthopedic Surgeon. She's been great with giving me weekly IV of vitamin injections and hyperbaric chambers 3 times a week. And so I really truly feel like a high-level professional athlete.
How much has your training had to have changed your game plan because you went from an opponent, Rob Eberson, to Luis Firmino? How much has training had to change in game plans and stuff like that?
Well, training didn't change at all. The one thing that I did for this training camp that I kind of didn't do for other training camps, I geared them more towards specific opponents. But this time, I didn't neglect anything. I trained everything. I trained my wrestling. I trained my jiu-jitsu. I trained my striking, my strength, my conditioning. Everything. This is like a very well-rounded camp. So, of course, I was disappointed when Emerson pulled out, but I was confident. Brian Langmaid, the promoter of SEC, would come up with a good opponent. I told him right from the beginning, I want a top-notch guy or a UFC veteran kind of opponent, so that I can make a splash on the scene at 155. He was able to come up with a great replacement, Luis Firmino. I believe he's probably a better opponent than Rob Emerson. Although the casual MMA fan might not know who he is, the hardcore MMA fans really should. With all the fights in Pride and Bushido and stuff like that, he's a true veteran and a really tough guy, and I'm ready.
Talk a little bit about Firmino. What do you see are his strengths? What do you see are his weaknesses? What do you think you're going to look to exploit in this fight?
Well, the first thing that sticks out is that he's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, and a legit one at that. That's kind of part of the fight that actually really excites me, because I've been working so hard and so diligently with Robert Drysdale over the past year and a half that my Jiu-Jitsu skills have skyrocketed, and I've always been known as a submission guy, but now I believe my submission's on another level, so it would be a real treat if I could go out there and submit him. But Firmino also brings in decent striking skills for a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. He can strike too, and he's kind of aggressive on his feet. I believe that I have the better striking. I believe that I have the better punches, the more powerful punches, and precise punches. So I would give myself the edge in the striking. But you never know until you get in there, of course. And he's got decent wrestling for a Brazilian. So he's a fairly well-rounded opponent, and that's probably why his record is 20-5, pretty successful record right there. But I feel like I have the edge everywhere, especially mentally. This is the strongest mentally I have ever been in my career. That due to an amazing camp, and just been working really hard over the last few years to get where I'm at.
Is this a permanent move down to 155, or are you going to go between lightweight and welterweight?
It's tough to say. I guess if the right fight was offered to me at welterweight for the right amount of money, why would I turn it down? I've had a lot of success at welterweight, with 46 fights in that weight class. It'd be hard to say no to the right fight, but 155 is definitely my new home, and I'm very excited to be in this weight class and see what I can do and mix it up with that. I think it's an amazing weight class. There's no shortage of talent out there. you're not going to see me going accepting fights with big dudes like Anthony Johnson or somebody like that where they're cutting from 215 pounds. I don't get any heavier than 184. So it would just be ridiculous for me to fight somebody where I'm walking on the scale at 170 by the time I'm done camp to fighting a guy that's probably going to be around 200 in the fight, So I would pick and choose the right battles at 170. There are some fights out there that interest me at 70, but I believe my new home is 55.
You have the Tachi Palace Fights welterweight title. Is there any plan on defending that?
I don't know. It kind of seems like we're just stepping aside and going to vacate the belt. Unless we further negotiate, like a situation. But as of right now, we're just kind of just going to probably step aside and let them decide on what they would like to do. And we'll see what happens there. I would definitely like to go there and maybe challenge for the lightweight belt.
I'm curious, what happened with MFC? Because you're 2-1 under their banner, and the last two fights you had with them were both finishes, both wins and both finishes. What happened with them? How come we haven't seen you back with them?
Oh, well, with MFC, it's just a matter of timing, and a lot of it comes down to money, really. I'm getting paid more money to fight in these other shows, so signing a long-term deal with MFC just doesn't seem like the right fit for me right now, while I'm making more money outside of there. The fight offers, I believe, were just a little bit low for what I wanted to get paid. I know they have great exposure and there's great sponsorship opportunities and stuff, but that still doesn't make up for the fight purse. I'm a family man. I have a wife. I have a kid. I have 2 dogs and a house, and a car payment and things like that. So fighting on TV for less money, and I'm sorry, I've got 46 fights. I don't need to fight on TV every fight. It's that doesn't bother me, but getting paid, it does. So I have a great relationship with Mark Pavlich. We're actually friends and everything, so it's nothing personal. But I hope to one day make an MFC return for sure. They got some great lightweights over there that I'd like to mix it up with. And I think I'd be a great champion over there. But it just comes down to money, basically.
You're 8-1 in your last 9 fights. Your only losses to Sayar Bahadazara, who's a really good welterweight fighter, and I think he just recently signed with the UFC. How much more do you think you have to do to get an invite to a bigger show?
Well, I think, if the CR fight didn't happen or I beat him, either way, I would be getting invited to the UFC. I actually had to turn down a UFC contract about 5 months before the CR fight happened, but I was already in that tournament, so contracts kept me from it being able to accept the UFC fight, which was really hard to say no to, of course, because I was working so hard, and that was my goal, and get that phone call, and now I have to say no. I've been begging to fight in there, and working so hard, and then I had to say no, so that was something really tough to swallow and deal with, but, I'm a man of my word, and I, went through with my contracts, and, that was basically the issue there, but I feel like, Luis Firmino is a really solid opponent, and beating him and making a statement at 55 could be that chance where, Joe Silva will call me, because I know that they know who Firmino is. And there's tons of good fights for me at 155, and I think it could be really exciting. So we'll see. Time will tell, but that's my goal, obviously, is just keep working towards the big show.
Would you be open to going to like a Bellator, or is it you're going to take these smaller local show fights and work your way to the UFC, or would you be open to a Bellator?
No, I'm not totally closed-minded towards Bellator. We actually had a Bellator, offer on the table last year as well, and I opted not to do it. Just it was something that me and my manager sat down and went through, and just didn't seem like the right fit at the right time. Their contract is kind of finicky and weird, so if you lose a fight, there's a big pay drop and stuff like that, and just a few things that I train with. But that was at welterweight also. Now that I'm at lightweight, kind of opened some doors, and some possibilities to me being more open to it. I think I got a stacked lightweight division that I'd really like to get in there and mix it up with. Of course, my good friend and training partner, Mike Chandler's in there. So I really wouldn't want to have to fight him, but Eddie Alvarez and everybody else in there, it would be fair game.
How does the fight end on Friday?
Well, I mean, like every fighter says, definitely with my hands raised. But my goal is to leave those three people that sit ringside that want to be called judges. I'll lose this fight. I don't want the judges to have anything to do with it. I want this to be in my hands. So I'm going for the finish, like I've done in my last. I had that 7-fight win streak. I finished everybody. Finished my last opponent. I'm here to finish people, and that's what I want to do on Friday night. Finish them, whether it's a submission or a knockout.
John, real quick before I let you go, do you have any sponsors you'd like to thank? Anything you want to say to the fans?
Yeah, absolutely. This is, I'm super excited to make my lightweight debut. This has been a long time coming, and I've never been so ready in my life or in my fight career. Focused, determined, motivated, all those positive words I'm feeling right now. And it's going to be an amazing fight, so I hope everybody can make it out. Tickets are cheap. They start at $35, to make the trip to Vegas if you're not too far. It's going to be an amazing show. The whole card is stacked. The promoter does a great job of putting together great cards, and for their third show, they're doing big things, and it's a pleasure to fight for them. But of course, I'd like to thank my sponsors, Knockout Fightwear, which you can check out at knockoutfightwear.net, Nation Essentials Clothing, which is GoShopNation.com, Gamma Labs. They've always been sticking by me, and Cliff from Gamma O, thank you so much. Medicare Health Products also sponsor me, so thank you there. And most of all, my wife for being an amazing cook and cooking me all this crazy healthy food from Dolce. Without her, this would have been way more difficult. And I have an amazing support base with my family, my wife, my mom and dad, my sister. They all come to the fights, and my son, and it's just awesome. So just thank you all. God bless.
John, thank you for taking the time to talk. I really appreciate it. Good luck at Superior Cage Combat 3 against Luis Firmino.